Hi everyone, this is Suzanne Wagner. Thank you for joining me. I put out a whole bunch of videos yesterday which are about for 2021, and I still have a few more things to kind of put together, but I hope you enjoy them on YouTube. But today we're doing the numerology and the astrology for 12/30/2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 10. The number 10 is the number of the radiant body. It's about boldness and courage, but you can also bring the 1 and the 0 together and you can create the number 1, which is about individuality, humility, authenticity, and realness. And so, I find that authenticity, realness, and humility are actually incredibly difficult for many people to kind of figure out and work with. And so most people instead will go towards power, which is the number 10. So they kind of puff themselves up and they get full of pomp and ceremony and that I know better than everything else and I know everything and all this kind of thing. And then what happens, of course, is that if you are inaccurate or full of false pretense, the universe will cut your legs out from underneath you and you get humiliated, which pulls you back into the number 1. So for me, I always think it's better to can we just address both of those at one time, which means power is wonderful, especially if it comes from authenticity and realness. And if you work with power from a humble place, whereas that I have this power and so I have a tool to help others, then I think it becomes even more powerful. But let's start today by understanding that the cycles of time overlap and they repeat. And this is really important for the growth of conscious awareness and the evolution of humanity. And that's why the patterns, such as astronomy, astrology, numerology, cards, palmistry are so interesting to learn. But we can also learn such things through becoming an avid reader in history, mathematics, and physics. So all these systems show patterns, and the more educated we are around understanding those patterns, the more the craziness of the world not only makes sense, but it becomes predictable and almost a rational progression that life continuously follows. I point this out because we are in this 10-1 day, and it is a day to begin to learn something new, to see the world with a fresh set of eyes, to notice the obvious staring us in the face. It's also a day to take back the control so that we can make choices and take actions based on rational thought process, not a childish impulse. Power, the number 10, requires you to grow up and take 100% total responsibility for your life, your actions, and the impact we create as we move through time and space. Power is always offered and it is given at critical points in each person's life, but keeping power is about doing things that help the world, help humanity, and make differences that stand the test of time, with such power and force that they are consciously and intentionally passed down through the generations. So, today, take an honest look at what we are each manifesting. Is it really what we want to leave behind? Is it a legacy that we would be proud of? If not, then perhaps it is time today to reevaluate a lot of things. Okay, the astrology today. I started out looking at the astrology and realizing that the way it was going, it was kind of creating a fuzzy kind of thing. And so I want you to notice what the external world might be trying to convince us of. I know everyone lives in their own unique bubble, but when what we want to be true does not align with the larger world bubble, it creates states of confusion. Try to just let things be and do not try to make the reality fit into our perceptions or projections. Everybody's feeling this thing and something is coming close, and that thing can make perspective questionable. So notice the global discontent and the anxiousness that most of humanity feels. In such moments in time, it is designed to point us in the direction of deepening our spiritual essence. Sometimes the spiritual quest becomes something of such critical importance that a certain number within the masses needs to hit a threshold so that a major shift in consciousness becomes the only path that leads out of the chaos and into the offered evolution of human potential. All other doorways lead into darker outcomes. So, the moon is in the comforting sign of Cancer today. While it attempts to be protective and warm, there is also a bit of distancing still being experienced. Stick with family. This period of time has shown us again and again how important spiritual family and blood connection really is. Neptune continues to create emotional havoc with what we are feeling, even though it squares with the loving and diplomatic planet Venus. The veil is confusing our senses and stressing us further. While we all want to wake up from a nightmare that is the world right now, we have to learn to deal with the harsh reality. Without better skills at dealing with what is right in front of us, we will not see this time as a great warning of the things to come. The lack of human discrimination is making a difficult situation even more dangerous. Without that critical discernment and understanding fact from fiction, we are going to continue to be discontented and disappointed. Do not make any large purchases today at this time. What you may be attracted to may not be worth the money unless you are, it may be useless, and you may take on too much of a financial drain. Okay, my quote for today. Advertisers try to make us feel silly and sad. Manipulators know we are vulnerable if we feel bad. Guilt is a tool that egos employ to make people do what they want to destroy joy. I laugh at the drama of those that hate. They need to pull others down so they feel great. They tear apart souls as the children of the lie. They handle problems with more words that deny. I wish for a world where such souls are given no time. I wish for laws where dishonesty is a crime. But lies are tools of the forces of the dark. Those that use them will forever carry a mark. And my blog for today. I feel that some souls have been sent here to try to warn mankind of the radical destructive patterns that are a choice in the progression of humanity. I believe those that choose poorly are unaware of the deeper meanings of how choices evolve into actions and how ego can hijack those actions and pull the offered transformational cycles out of balance and move them towards dangerous conflict. We stand at a threshold of time that will live in the history books forever. Our choices and actions will be meticulously analyzed and will be used as examples for future generations. Most scholars will marvel at the ridiculousness of our actions and the actions of so many in a haze of distortion and denial. Over the next century, many laws will be made that stop such insanity from causing so much harm for future generations. There are so many that can see and will actively move. Those that have the power, determination, and strength to stand for what helps this world will become the heroes to this tragedy and become some of the greatest stories and myths of all time. Some souls are learning about the cycle of linear time. Some souls are extremely familiar with such cycles and understand how the patterns of progression can be predicted. And the seers will continue to warn. And the watchers will continue to record humanity's progress or lethargy. Those wisdom keepers know that there is never an end of the world. It is simply how time comes full circle and resets itself. Thanks, everyone.